Welcome back to Website and TV. I'm Gemma Houghton. Today I'm joined by Arianne Donoghue, the Digital Marketing Manager at icelolly.com, and we're going to be talking about audiences within PPC. So, hi Arianne, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure. So, paid search, PPC has changed quite a lot in the past few years. What are the main things that make it different to how it used to look?
It's really difficult to know where to begin as there's so much, and so much of what we've seen have been really big changes. Within the world of paid media, you've had changes to stuff like the nature of match types. Exact match is no longer exact, even less so in recent weeks.
Yeah.
You've got close variants, you've got things like real-time bidding and programmatic becoming more popular that's altered the paid media landscape. But the main things that are really starting to shift is how people are searching. You've got rises in voice search, predictive search, artificial intelligence, bots. Everything's becoming more conversation-led, and that's massively changing the way that people are searching and looking for information.
So what does that mean for our trusty keyword that has been the mainstay of paid search and paid media for so long? How does that fit now?
Yeah, keywords are in trouble. I don't think the keyword is dead. Not yet, anyway, but they're certainly not as important as they used to be.
Yeah.
They're probably one factor now of many that determine who we should be targeting and how we should be reaching people. Factors like location, behaviour, interest, device, age and gender. There's so many other things now that we can use as well as keywords to help find the right people.
So how do we make that shift then from being very keyword focused when building campaigns and ads and landing pages to thinking more around these audiences? Where do you even start to merge the two and find some sensible targeting that makes sense?
Yeah, there's probably 100 tools out there that can help you with this, but there's a lot of information that you can get from free and easily accessible tools. So things like your Google Analytics. If you run email campaigns, you can use that email data and get information from that through Facebook Audience Insights to get a feel for who your customers are. If you're clever with how you segment your data in GA and through email and through Facebook, you can get some really good insights from both those areas and also from your AdWords campaigns as they are. That gives you really good information about age and gender of users, things they're interested in, stuff that you can then take away and use to optimize and build into a more rounded customer profile.
So when you're talking about segmenting, what are the kind of segments you should be building out in these tools to really make sense of that data? What should you be looking at?
You can go as high level or as detailed as you like, really. At the very least, people should be looking at age and gender. Within your paid search campaigns, that's about the only thing that Google supports right now. You can either bid up or bid down or exclude certain elements from campaigns altogether. For AdWords and Bing. But if you want to then look at things like the display network, YouTube, paid social, that's where everything else like interests, device targeting, location, behaviours, that's where all of that comes into play as well.
So you can get that information, you can get a very good understanding perhaps of who is the right audience for me, who is it that's buying from us, which audience. How does that then translate into paid search campaigns? How do you then create campaigns that aren't grouped based on keywords but are grouped based on audiences?
I'd advise people to try and take it one step further. We're doing a similar exercise with icelolly at the moment, splitting out the demographics of the AB audience and maybe the more C2DE, and understanding the differences in how they use our products and how they buy a holiday essentially, and trying to tailor what we do accordingly.
And then in terms of ongoing optimization and measurement of campaigns and adjusting campaigns, often when it's keyword based, you can very much see, right, that keyword is having a really high CPC, that keyword is not driving anything, and it's very much easy. It was quite easy to change bidding based on that. What kind of things do you look at now in order to optimize campaigns on an ongoing basis?
It's a little different. I think one of the things that I'm using more and more now is the use of custom segments in Google Analytics. If I know a particular customer profile, for example, if it's people coming from mobile, or women in particular of a certain age who've maybe spent a certain amount of time on site or live in a certain location, I can create a segment that looks at specifically that audience, and I can then use that to analyse performance. So that's a really good way then of understanding if what you're doing is working. And by creating your audiences in GA and sharing those to AdWords, you can monitor things like the list size, and if that's improving significantly over time, you're targeting more of the right kinds of users, and you can then look at conversion off the back of that and see how things are changing.
So there's a lot of data. That's partly the problem, perhaps, that there is now, there's various different sources you can go to, various different segments you can create, which creates kind of almost another problem that you're not just looking at Google AdWords and what it's telling you or Bing ads, it's the bigger spectrum. So how do you then what's your advice for pulling all of that data together into one place that's really easy then to really pull insights from?
Yeah, it's a really good question because things are going to get only more complex. I think we've been getting help with just bid management for so long that now we're laying all this other stuff in. There's going to be no way soon that we'll be able to manually manage and optimize all of this. We're going to have to turn to more tools and technology to help us do this. And I think people are more and more using tools like Data Studio or Tableau for visualizing data and understanding trends and being able to dig into that very easily. I think if companies have got the resource to start looking into that, even at a very low level, that will help. Things like Microsoft's Power BI and Data Studio have free versions that you can use and ways that you can start looking and interrogating your data, and I think that is something that people should be looking at to make their lives just as easy as possible.
And like you say, it's almost like you have to start now. There'll be companies that think, well, we haven't got the resources for that and we're going to keep doing it the way we always do it and all with a manual approach, but that's not going to be scalable or even viable in the future because of the amount of data and the amount of campaigns that perhaps are running at once.
No, it's really not. It's only going to get worse from here on in. It's a little terrifying when you think about the amount of control we're probably going to have to hand over to technology, but I think as machine learning progresses and improves and it's able to read the signals and interpret people's intent, that's what Google's trying to get at with its changes to Exact Match. It's claiming that it can understand what people are now meaning when they type in a particular thing, and it's not going to mix up JFK to San Francisco, and it's not going to think that means San Francisco to JFK. It's going to understand the right intent at the right time. So we're going to have to start putting our faith in tools, whether we like it or not. And the sooner we start to do that, the more of an advantage you can hopefully steal over your competition.
And that's the way to look at it, rather than, oh, this is a bad thing or this is something we have to give up. It's actually, what can we now do? What time as well can be freed up from dealing with all of this manual stuff? If we trust the computers and trust the machines, actually, you can use the human brain to think of more creative ideas, to find new ways to target customers and really try and grow brands in a different way.
Absolutely, and do what we're best at. I think even when we're using technology more and more within paid search, there's still going to be a place for humans. There's a lot that we can do and we can add value to that's going to be more beyond just bid optimization and tweaking ad copy. That really isn't the stuff where we can truly add value. So I'm hoping it's going to bring about a whole change in the way that we optimize and do PPC, and it's actually, far from being scary, I hope quite an exciting time.
Definitely lots of opportunities and lots of new developments to keep an eye on. Thanks very much for talking about that today.
Thank you.